Good morning, actually, on this one. For this YouTube exclusive for the Around the West podcast, I'm John. Now, guys, everybody knows that in a couple of weeks, WrestleMania will be happening over in Los Angeles, California. But what people may not also know is that you have a lot of independent companies doing shows as well. And we are fortunate today to be joined by one of the, I guess you could say, one of the masterminds, is the best way to put it, behind one of the more intriguing shows happening that weekend. He is the promoter and owner of 2econd Wrestling based in Chicago, Illinois, the one and only Mr. Rabbi Jeremy Fine. Rabbi, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing really well. We're in the midst of a Jewish holiday, which is like the most fun Jewish holiday. So like the kids are energetic. I'm changing costumes, nothing to do with wrestling, changing costumes all the time. Tonight I might wear a luchador mask for the holiday, but we'll see. So doing really well. Thanks for having me, John.
Oh, I appreciate it. Now, the way I found out about it, I'll be honest, the way I found out about it was because you guys have the event coming up April 2nd, which we'll get into that in a second. Before we get into what's happening over in Los Angeles, what got you into wrestling first? Let's start off there.
Yeah. So I've been a fan of wrestling since I was a kid. Grew up big fan of Macho Man, Mr. Perfect, Steamboat, Rockers, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Hogan, of course. You know, I ate my vitamins and all that. And it was sort of like, you know, a kid fan, and then went away from it for a while. And then I was one night in St. Louis with some friends, and they were watching Raw, and I got back into it. And then long and short of it, sooner or later, my best friend also got involved and into it. And so I was sort of like, I would read the sheets, I'd buy the magazines at Barnes and Nobles or Borders books at the time. And I kept up, and even with the independents, in the sense that when someone debuted, I'd call my dad and say, you got to watch this guy, or you got to watch this guy. But nothing in terms of like involved with it. You know, I would say I'd go to a WWE show every couple of years. I went to, like, if it was in Chicago, maybe I went to Backlash, I went to Mania when I was in Chicago, but didn't go too often, but always knew what was going on. About 7 years ago, my wife took me to a show in Chicago to see Colt Cabana, who is local. He grew up in the same suburb as I did. And so we have a lot of common friends, and we've become very friendly over the years. And so I'd never seen him wrestle because, you know, the Scotty Goldman period was very short on WWE. I didn't get to see him. So I really wanted to, and my wife knew that, and she bought us tickets, and we went, and I just fell in love. And long and short of it, I was in Minnesota at the time as a rabbi, and I was telling some congregants about the show, and they said we should do it at the synagogue. And I said, that's crazy. And then they said, no, we really should. And I said, okay, let's try it. And by our second show, we worked with First Wrestling. That's where 2nd Wrestling comes from. It's an ode to First Wrestling. We started doing shows in the synagogue, and on a blizzard on a Wednesday night in Minnesota, we had over 400 people packed in the synagogue. It was a crazy show. And First Wrestling is, you know, one of the best wrestling companies in the world, I think. Their shows are amazing if you ever get a chance to get to Minnesota and see them. And then I was leaving Minnesota to come home for my real work, which is a real rabbi, which it was really funny. Someone in the locker room who I've known for over a year now recently just said, wait, you're a real rabbi? I'm like, oh, full time. Like this wrestling thing is just on the side, right? So it's not a gimmick. It's not a work. It's real. Long and short of it, I didn't want to sort of lose all the excitement, all the camaraderie, all the behind the scenes stuff that I had been doing, you know, not all the time with First Wrestling, but sometimes with First Wrestling, anytime we were the host, and getting to see those guys or just become friends of mine. And so I started my own. I made a call to Eric Cannon and Colt Cabana, and I said, do you think this is crazy? They said no. Came up with a name, and we were off and running. And proud to say we've sold out our last 3 shows. We don't work Friday nights, and we would maybe do a Saturday night if it was the right scenario, but we really do Sundays and Thursdays. And so, you know, a sellout is never going to be 1,000 because you're never going to pack that many people into that kind of place. But for what we're doing and where we are, we're very proud of what we've accomplished. And we have a certain sort of formula for us that has been working, and we're still running. I thought we'd do 2 shows. We're about to do by end of April, we'll have done 10 shows in a little over a year.
Wow, that's quite impressive. Now, when did you? Obviously, you kind of mentioned this before, but when you made the switch over, did you think that it was going to become what it became? That you were going to be running the show out in Los Angeles?
I did think one day we would run a show Mania week. I did not think it'd be within the first 2 years, and I certainly didn't think it would be a Jewish wrestling show. I went to Mania last year. I had been to a WrestleMania before, but just as a fan. Mm-hmm. And so last year I went to, we had Billy Starks as our champion. And so Billy Starks defended it at a DFW show. We have a nice relationship with DFW. We talk to them, here and there. We've brought in a bunch of their talent down up from Texas. So Corey O'Neill and Killa Kate are 2 that have done multiple shows for us, and they're great, really good talent, and have bright futures. And so last year I got that bug, but everyone's like, "You're crazy," because it's just so hard. Like, how do you compete with Brett Lauderdale? How do you compete, if you're running at the same time? How do you compete with even WrestleCon? Not even the shows, but just like all that. So we knew this scenario sort of happened because we were able to sort of come with a community center. It's a synagogue, but also with the community involved, and get this Mitzvah Mania, which actually some of the hardest part was figuring out the name, because we wanted Mania in there, but we didn't want to call it Jewish Mania. It didn't really make sense, and Mitzvah Mania is a little corny for what we do, but anyways, I think people understand it. So we it just came together, and my first we wanted Colt involved as much as we can, but he has a lot to do over Mania week. And our other first call was to QT Marshall, and I've never worked with him. He seems great. I'm very excited to work with him. He's been up there. Olaf just fell. He's been a mensch. Like I said, there's a lot going on at the synagogue. He's been a mensch the whole time, so we're excited to work with him. And then some of the others who I've known, Royce Isaacs. We were supposed to have Jack Cartwheel out here at 2econd in our second show ever, and Jack got a great opportunity at AAA. So, we wanted him to be successful. Our shows are not AAA, and so we're excited to work with him. And a plethora. And I knew ultimately one of the big things is that I think I want our title, if we can, have it defended at Mania week, whether I'm there or not, no matter what. So it also gives an opportunity to give Billy some spotlight and an opponent of her choice, because everyone's out there. And she had never faced Brooke Havoc, and they're very, very excited. So that's sort of like a special attraction of this show. It's the one so far match that they're not, neither of them are Jewish. So it's a sort of, I call it's like the Andre the Giant. It's the special attraction.
Yeah, no, I get that. But for anybody who don't know, this is actually the poster that Rabbi Jeremy is referring to. As you can see it right here, happened in April 2nd in Los Angeles. You also have Chris Masters is going to be there as well.
Yeah, I've worked with Masters before. We're excited to have him. It was also one of our first calls. Young Bodie, Prodigy, we're excited to work with him. He's a young kid. Told him he's got to bring his parents to the show. Simon Miller. And Chelsea Durden. I mean, there's some really good names who we've never worked with before, and we did watch all of their matches, and anyone you see, we're putting them where we feel is the appropriate spot. Ariel Levy, who's the CCW champion down in Miami, I have worked with before, and we've stayed in touch. Great guy, and we're excited to have him on this show too, because he'll be out in LA. So all of the talent so far is already there. And we're just sort of capitalizing on the idea that, travel is already sort of taken care of.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I found out about you guys through Twitter, and I saw the name, and I was popping big time. As a fellow Jewish person out here in Long Island, I was like, wow, I never thought I'd ever see wrestling. Because the thing is, doing this show, I've been to a lot of wrestling shows in New Jersey, and they all have their perky names, but to hear one where it's called Mitzvah Mania, I'm like, oh my god.
So when we did the first two shows, we did three. So we did 9 shows when I was at first with I wasn't with First Wrestling, but
Yeah,
when Ken and I were working together, and the first show was called Mitzvah Mayhem. The second
okay,
was Hanukkah Havoc, and the third was Exodus because I was leaving.
yeah,
And then we did 6 shows during COVID, very safely and spread out, and plexiglass and the whole thing. So those weren't Jewish per se, but they were crazy cards. We had ACH, we had Top Flight. It was just they were great, but they gave people a lot of breaks during COVID. To just sink their teeth into live wrestling, which was really hard to do. So yeah, I mean, I hope this isn't the last one. I don't know that we can ever put together again, unless it was a Mania, a fully Jewish card like this. Mainly just because and you'll talk to any promoter, and especially today in 2023, travel is just become so expensive that it's very hard to fly in talent unless you truly believe they are going to sell tickets for you or bring you something that no one else has. So when we're very, at the first, when I first started, I just sort of, I don't want to say marked out, but it was like, I want to give everyone an opportunity. And you think about that and you're just getting started. And now, we really say to talent, those who are willing to fly in, there's a reason for it. So for example, on our April 27th show, Effie's coming. Effie will debut for us. He's never wrestled before for us. We're super excited about it. Been easy to work with, but Effie's someone we're flying in. There's no question about that.
yeah,
Effie not only is an attraction, but a great wrestler and has earned it. And we get calls all the time. Could you fly me in? And I'm like, you would be more expensive than, just your flight might be more expensive than a percentage of our car. It's not possible, especially if you live in nowhere. If it's an easy flight to Chicago, maybe. But so, we're this, whether it can be done again, we'll see. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm around it, and I think there's a lot of intrigue around it, and certainly the card, the wrestlers are ecstatic about it, and it's going to mean a lot for us. And we're trying to capture as much content as we can there, so that we can maybe produce a DVD or something like that. Because I think people who we're not going to, I don't believe we'll stream it. I don't think we're going to have the ability to. So hopefully by capturing all the moments, we can have a DVD and either sell it or release it or something like that.
yeah. And I can already imagine if you have other shows coming out based off of other Jewish holidays, how they can get have it be Passover Slam or something.
Yeah. So yeah, we absolutely, we've been in talks with a bunch of Hillels and other Jewish organizations to try to bring it in. I think the thing with wrestling, and this is true of me too, before I went to an independent show, if you don't know it, you don't understand it, and you think it's just violence for the sake of violence, or you see a clip of someone gushing blood, and you just assume. We're a very family friendly. There's not been one weapon used. I mean, I guess Dan the Dad used his belt on Cole Radrick, but for the most part, there's no weapons. We don't. If anyone bled, it was by accident, and that hasn't happened yet. We want our talent and we want people to come to our event and forget about everything and have a good time and bring their family. And our next show is our latest show that we've ever run in terms of time wise. Our show in April in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was mainly because the talent has to be able to get there in time, which is hard on a Thursday night. So we're going to see how that runs. But ultimately most of our shows, we do birthday parties. We really, and we do it. We present people in talent in a way a lot of people haven't seen them. So like you may see Cole Radrick, with light tubes. You're not seeing with light tubes at our match. And not to say Cole Radrick only does death matches. He's an incredible performer. You're not gonna see any of the gory stuff where we really believe we're family friendly. Even like we've only had alcohol involved in one show, purposely, and that was our only 21 plus show, and that was last summer. We may run another one, but that was kids are away at camp during the summer. We thought maybe the parents could come out and enjoy it. So our presentation is a little different, and even local talent. We go out, we scout, we watch a lot of tape. We watch a lot of matches, and we say, can we use this person on our show and present them in a way the other shows are not? Because Chicago, thankfully, has incredible promotions in the area. They train, some of them train and have had the talent forever. So why would I just have the same match that you saw last Saturday on our Thursday show, right? Yeah. It's got to look different. It's got to feel different.
But again, folks, actually, let me pull up the poster one more time here. Just bear with me 1 second. Now, guys, it's all going down, as you can see right here. April 2nd. Now, can people still buy tickets?
Yeah. We released, because we're working with the community, and the community owns a good portion of the tickets, we only released a handful. There's about 20 left. So maybe a little less. So yes, you can grab those. And if we can have more, so for example, we sold sponsorships for this. The sponsorship deals come with tickets. If those sponsors don't use tickets, we may release more tickets, but it's not guaranteed. So if you want tickets, you want to be at the show, I would say buy them ASAP if they're still available.
Now, and that's all going to be down in the description below once this video goes up. But Rabbi, again, I appreciate having you on today. This was an honor having you on. Hopefully we can have you on again at some point down the road. Before I let you go, where can people find you guys on social media to follow you guys for any future events?
Thank you. Yeah, we're at 2econd Wrestling with a 2. So instead of an S, it's a 2. Again, that's an ode to the second city of Chicago and First Wrestling. So who spells their I with a 1. So 2econd Wrestling with a 2. And we're at Twitter, where we're most active. Then Instagram, probably second most. Facebook and YouTube. We do release matches here and there on YouTube. Right now, no commentary. We're really sort of basic, and now we're looking at production as we've grown a little bit, what that looks like. This summer, we're doing a camp tour, which should be really fun. We have 6 different camps we're going to this summer. So we'll probably after April just head into the summer, probably do one big summer show, and then actually take a break, probably unless we're just red hot, and probably for a little bit, and then maybe come back in October or early November. We always will do a December show. So, we're moving forward, and also trying to keep pace with my wife and kids and jobs. So so at 2econd Wrestling for pretty much everything.
Again, Rabbi, first of all, I commend you for being able to do both doing the Rabbi thing and being a promoter as well. I give you a lot of credit for both of those, because I've met a lot of wrestling promoters over the last year, and it's not an easy job.
No, I think someone said to me once, like, if you're getting into this for the money, you're out of your mind. And they are correct. It's a grind, until you've made it and your shows are going to sell out, which we're not there yet, even close. Like, you're biting your nails up until the door so that you sometimes cut even. If you make a profit, you're just like smiling ear to ear. And we also have we've taken a fairly hard line, in what we're going to pay our it's like I've had a few people on this the Mitzvah Mania, and I negotiated them up, and they're like, you just offered me more money than I asked for. I was like, we have a certain baseline that we pay our talent, at least that are wrestling, that that are wrestling. You know, it's a little different if you're a manager or a commentator or something like that. And we believe that ultimately that will lead to talent wanting to be with us and give us their all. And Mondays are for wrestling for me. I guess maybe that's because of Monday Night Raw, but also because of that's my day off from rabbiing. So Mondays I'm full force into wrestling.
Hey, again, I appreciate it so much. And again, hopefully we can have you on again at some point. Let me just throw the poster up one last time so people can see it. Guys, April 2nd over in Los Angeles at, I gotta see if we can see which temple.
Beth
You will actually see wrestling called Mitzvah Mania. Posters right there. Information will be provided below. And again, Rabbi, thank you so much for hopping on. Hope you have a great day. And also have a happy Purim.
Thank you. Yeah, big night tonight. That's why Olaf's in the corner.
But for Rabbi Jeremy Fine, I'm John. This has been another installment of the On the Roast podcast. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.